Good afternoon. My name is Jacob Gerard, and I'll be sharing my community health assessment on Canton, Mississippi. And it's a city that I've lived in for many years, and I'm proud to call it home. The reason why I chose Canton, Mississippi for my community health assessment is that it is where I currently live. I believe that it was a great opportunity to really learn about the city and gather some information about Canton. It was eye-opening to learn about the city's historical strengths and its ongoing challenges. It made me really realize that there's so much to do within this city and to try to bring it back up. I want this city to thrive, and I truly believe the community does too. I think that the data and information presented in this community health assessment can help people appreciate all the things that make Canton great. The community can also recognize what needs to be fixed and strive to help make changes in the community, to help keep this growth going in the right direction. Some little facts about Canton: it's located in Madison County with a population of roughly 13,500, and Canton is mainly known for its historical, cultural heritage, its downtown area, and that it's a hub for the automotive manufacturing industry. The middle picture is the Canton Square Courthouse. That was built in 1855, and it's one of only 7 pre-Civil War, courthouses in the state of Mississippi that are still standing in an unaltered condition. Along with the courthouse, Canton's Historical Square was entered into the National Register of Historical Places in 1982. Canton is also home to the oldest hot air balloon race in Mississippi. Elmer James, which is a well-known blues artist, is also from Canton, Mississippi. This is the Canton Square just on a regular day. Let's see if this video plays. As you can see, it's a very beautiful community, and that courthouse is also very beautiful. A lot of the historical architecture located within the city and the square resembles that. And you heard the music in the background also. They have that playing throughout the day, whether it be Elmer James or other blues artists from Mississippi, or just some upbeat music playing throughout the square. This is now what the courthouse in Canton and around Madison County, they come here, and it's also the circuit clerk office, And this picture on the right is just a kind of a posterior view of the square. The square has a lot of historical small businesses, and it's home of the Mississippi Art Colony. I'm sorry. The Mississippi Art Colony is one of the big things that brings all the movies to Canton, Mississippi. The city itself is known as the movie capital of Mississippi. Many famous films were filmed here, like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?, My Dog Skip, and A Time to Kill. And these are these movies here. A Time to Kill had Samuel L. Jackson, Matthew McConaughey, just to name a few of these really big actors. And My Dog Skip is just one of my favorite movies. That's one of my favorite scenes right there too. This is a picture of the Canton Hot Air Balloon Festival. Thousands of people show up to watch this, and I go to it almost every year whenever I can. And it's really a sight to see, especially on a clear night like that. Some of the healthcare facilities in Canton include Merit Health Madison. There's some MEA clinics, and the G.A. Carmichael Family Center is also located in Canton, Mississippi. That facility specifically offers financial assistance for patients who meet the income and household requirements. Let's see. So some basic facts about Canton: it is near one of the major interstates in Mississippi. I-55 and Highway 51 runs straight through the middle of the Canton Square. So they have some access to that. There's also a major railroad, coming down from Grenada. A lot of manufacturing supplies come down that railroad. The public transportation, there is some, but it's not very reliable. The two different agencies that are mainly used in Canton for public transportation are the Madison County Human Resource Agency and Delta Rides. They both offer van pools, commuter trips, non-emergency transportation, and student transportation. But like I said, it's not very reliable. Regarding utilities in Canton, the Canton municipal utilities are service the city's water, gas, sewer, and electrical needs. And the Public Works Department in Canton deals with the road management, the building infrastructures. Some ongoing infrastructure problems that Canton faces right now are problems with erosion, ditch cleaning, and removing debris from the house and the roads. They have some flooding concerns and wastewater management and pollution issues. Their streets need to be repaired, and they have a lack of streetlights and sidewalks, and some of their buildings are run down. And this was actually gone over in a town hall meeting that was held on the 9th of this month. So hopefully they brought all this up with to devise a plan to get all these infrastructure issues handled, because that's one of the major things that which I'll talk about later, but it's a major weakness in Canton is their infrastructure problems. It just makes the city seem unsafe with boarded up houses and buildings and vacant properties and whatnot, but we'll talk about that later. Canton, believe it or not, is actually in an economic and tech boom. That bottom picture is the Nissan automotive plant. That was built probably a decade and a half ago, and that brought the economy up in Canton so much, and it created a lot of new jobs for Canton residents. And my uncle works there, and he's from Canton also, so it really did help the city of Canton. And their newest project is the Amazon Web Services. That's them breaking ground up top, in that picture up top. That's going to be a $10 billion project that's going to bring in about 1,000 new jobs for the city of Canton. And those two projects just by themselves really bring light to Canton's potential for economic growth. Some other community events that really bring Canton that small town feel are the Canton Flea Market, which is pictured there on the left. It brings in a lot of different vendors and small business owners from around the state and states surrounding Mississippi. It brings in thousands and thousands of people each year. They hold it twice a year. And it really helps the economy and lets people see what Canton is as a community. It's a very family-oriented community. And then on the right, the Canton Christmas lights. That's something that I've been going to for many, many years. It's one of my favorite things to do around Christmas time in Mississippi. And it really highlights all the beautiful structures that are represented in the square. And they just have so much stuff for you and your family to do out there. Like me and my wife's favorite things to do is ride on the horseback and carriage around the square and drink some hot chocolate whenever it's cold, actually. The demographics of Canton, some quick facts. The total population is roughly about 13,500. The median age is about 35. Racial composition in Canton is mainly African American, but they are represented by a strong Hispanic population also. There's about 5,000 people employed in Canton, and the largest industries are retail, manufacturing, and healthcare. Some facts about civics. Roger Wicker and Cindy Hyde-Smith are U.S. Senators, and Benny Thompson is the U.S. Representative for District 2 in Canton, or in Mississippi, which covers Canton. Yeah. So some social determinants of health regarding Canton. I have listed healthcare access, the environment, chronic diseases, education, and economic stability. And I have a quote from the Mississippi Department of Health that defines social determinants of health as being factors that are beyond the control of individuals and communities, but they have greater impact upon health and quality of life than utilization of health services. So regarding economic stability, the median household income is about $34,000. The poverty rate in Canton is 33%, which is way higher than the national average of about 12.5%. We're seeing that males 25 to 35 are the largest demographic living in poverty, and the most common racial or ethnic group living in poverty are African Americans, the white population, and the Hispanic populations. Regarding healthcare access in Canton, insurance coverage rates, 23% of citizens under the age of 65 are without health insurance. Chronic diseases, we know this is a big thing in Mississippi alone. We're plagued with obesity and hypertension and diabetes. The education in Canton, the high school graduation rate is about 75%, and citizens with a bachelor degree or higher is about 13.4%. The literacy rates in Canton high schools, the reading proficiency is about 30%, and math proficiency is 40%. And regarding college enrollment and attainment, only 13.4% of residents have a bachelor degree or higher. 1% of men over 25 had no previous schooling, and about 1% of women in that same age group had no previous schooling as well. Regarding the environment, transportation access, which is your public transportation and walkability in the city, is very low due to lack of extensive and dedicated bus services and lack of sidewalks and street lights. Some environmental hazards that plague Canton are pollution, flooding, poor building integrity. There's some drinking water contamination due to the pollution. Canton is also having problems with their wastewater management, and this is where I got an interview from Michael Buck, who is a fellow resident of Canton and an engineer at Wagner. They're working on building up Betty's Bluff, which is the wastewater management company in Canton. And his quote regarding these problems were, "Betty's Bluff has been undergoing renovations to help the increased need in wastewater management. There was a big need to help improve the plant, especially since the new AWS plant was being built in Canton. It just wasn't going to be able to accommodate both plants at the same time. Back in 2019, there was a $45 million renovation to help accommodate both the Nissan Motors plant and the AWS tech site. These new renovations should help the community by providing them more safe wastewater management treatment systems." Like I said before, some of the infrastructure issues in Canton a majority of it are buildings and vacant properties. As you can see here, these are just two pictures right outside of the square. Yeah, as soon as you get off the square, this is what you see. And this is what a majority of downtown Canton looks like outside of the Canton Square. This leads to the thought of an unsafe environment in Canton. Crime rates are up, and with these properties looking like it is, it just leads to a very unsafe environment. Some weaknesses that Canton faces are their economic challenges, like I stated earlier, with their poverty rate being 33% and their median income of only just below $35,000. Their access to health care, with almost a quarter of their population not having insurance under the age of 35, that's a big issue in Canton. So that means people aren't getting treated. Hypertension's still going on. Nobody's getting that treated. Nobody's getting their diabetes treated, which leads to coming to Jackson, Mississippi to get treated. Bigger hospital bills. It's just not a very good healthcare environment in Canton. The educational attainment, with graduation rates only being about 75%, we need to increase that, and keeping people in school. The crime rate in Canton has gotten out of control in the past year. As of 2 days ago, there was a mass shooting at a supermarket, and that just goes to show that's about sums up the past year in Canton. The crime has just gotten way out of control. The housing and infrastructure problems, a lot of those buildings, like I showed in the previous slides, that's what a majority of downtown Canton looks like, unfortunately. So the city has to do a better job at either tearing them down and building something better or fixing them up, because a lot of those are historical sites. We're just not doing a very good job at keeping them up. With the transportation limitations, not having sidewalks or streetlights or a public bus service to help people get around, really it's detrimental, believe it or not, because a lot of people don't have cars, and if you're not able to walk safely, you're just not going to be able to get anywhere. And then some of these environmental concerns, like I said, the pollution, the wastewater management services, and the flooding issues are a big concern in Canton. Now let's get to the good stuff about Canton. So, like I mentioned earlier, Canton has a lot of strong community events like the Canton Flea Market, the Christmas lights, the hot air balloon festivals. And that brings a lot of people to Canton. It helps the economy. And it really highlights what Canton is about. Canton is very family oriented, and it brings that small town feel to Mississippi. And the people are just great. Their food is awesome. These events are just do wonders for Canton. With the rich cultural history and architecture, like I said, the courthouse downtown is just a beautiful structure, especially when during the Christmas festival, whenever they put the Christmas trees and everything, it just makes it look awesome. And with the blues history, the movie history especially, that brings a very rich history to the city of Canton. And the economic developments like the AWS Tech Site and the Nissan plant are gonna really help Canton's economic growth and growth as a city as a whole. And their access to many healthcare facilities. Merit Health is only probably 3 miles outside of Canton, downtown Canton, and with the GA Carmichael facility that helps underprivileged citizens. That's a really big strength of Canton, because a lot of people do live in poverty. So to be able to go to somewhere like that to receive health care is very very good for the city of Canton. My assessment methodology, I use data from the U.S. Census, the Mississippi Department of Health reports, and local interviews with my friend Michael, talking about the wastewater management issues and improvements. How will the community health assessment support Canton? All the data that is collected and found during this community health assessment can be posted publicly so that the community can see it. We can offer it during town hall meetings and provide different infographics to bring more awareness. The city of Canton can also host more town hall meetings to offer the citizens an opportunity to voice their concerns to the community leaders. And then I believe that it will give vital information about what makes Canton so great and how the community can come together to voice their concerns and to keep this great city rising. This community is growing rapidly, but there are still many things that need to be addressed moving forward to help make the city grow in the right direction. I think that if we were able to discuss the issues that the city has to bring and bring it forward to the community leaders, that change can occur. Everyone has to buy into the change. Many people may not like it, but change is a good thing, especially for a small city like Canton. With the vision of growth, the community can take on a sense of pride and responsibility to make sure that this is somewhere worth living and to move towards a brighter future. And then my action plan, some things that I believe that need to happen in the city of Canton to help the city keep growing and to keep it safer, include reduce the uninsured rate by 10% over the next 3 years. We can do this by partnering with local healthcare clinics to give the community an opportunity for local health insurance enrollment drives, and we can track this through U.S. Census data and clinic reports. We can also improve educational attainment by increasing the high school graduation rate to 90% over the next 5 years. And we can develop an after-school care tutoring system to help struggling students and subjects and to provide them guidance on college education. We can decrease the community's poverty rate by 10% within 10 years. With the AWS Tech plant and the Nissan Motors plant, we can leverage new job creation by connecting residents to training and employment programs. And we can also, lastly, we can improve neighborhood safety and infrastructure. We can get government grants to help rebuild buildings and create sidewalks, add streetlights, and repair the streets and the city's drainage system to help prevent flooding. These are my sources that I use. Like I said, I mainly use the U.S. Census, the Mississippi Department of Health, the Canton News, and local government tourism boards. And that is my community health assessment. Thank you for your time. I truly believe Canton has a bright future, and by working together as a community, I think we can address our challenges